The river did not rise gently. It came like a beast with a roar, tearing through the village in the dead of night, snapping trees, ripping homes from their roots, swallowing screams without mercy. Leora was already running when the first house collapsed. Rain burned her eyes, mud dragged at her feet, and fear hammered in her chest like a second heart. No one shouted her name. No one ever did. She was the unwanted one, the girl people barely noticed until something went wrong. Then she heard it. Not a human cry, not the sound of water breaking wood. Something small, broken, gasping. She saw it spinning in the flood, smashed against stones, struggling to stay above the surface. Instinct screamed at her to keep running. Sense told her to live. But Leora had lived her whole life being ignored. Tonight, she chose to be seen by something that needed her. She tied a rope around her waist and stepped into the river. The current hit her like punishment. It dragged her under, slammed her body against rocks, stole the breath from her lungs. Pain exploded everywhere, but she forced herself forward, fingers bleeding as she clawed closer. When her hand finally closed around the small body, warmth met her skin scales. The creature surfaced, trembling, eyes wide with terror. A baby dragon, too small to fly, one horn cracked, wings torn. Around its neck, a black metal collar glowed faintly with symbols that felt wrong just to look at. Cursed, hunted. Leora pulled it to her chest and fought her way back, collapsing onto high ground behind the mill. She lay there shaking, coughing water, heart pounding as the hatchling clung to her like she was the last thing left in the world. That was when the voices came. Villagers, watchmen, then soldiers. The captain saw the collar and smiled. That creature belongs to the king, he said calmly. Hand it over. Leora stood in front of the dragon without thinking. Her body was thin, weak, but it was all she had. It's hurt, she said. It was drowning. So were our people, the captain replied coldly. We don't save monsters. When the spear lifted, something inside her broke and hardened at the same time. She had been pushed aside her whole life. Tonight, she refused. She ran through mud, through rain, through woods people feared. Arrows cut the air. One struck her shoulder. Pain burned, but she did not stop. She hid beneath twisted roots as night swallowed the world, pressing the trembling dragon close while soldiers searched and cursed nearby. The hatchling burned with fever. The collar pulsed, dark veins creeping into its neck. Leora pressed her shaking hand against the metal. Agony exploded through her arm. She screamed, biting her lip to keep from alerting the hunters. Symbols burned into her palm as if her skin were clay. For a moment, death felt close. Then the collar went cold. The curse broke. The hatchling breathed deeply for the first time. Its eyes cleared. It pressed its forehead to her burned hand. A bond formed in silence. Days turned into weeks. Leora survived on stolen food and roots. The dragon grew stronger. Its wings healed. Fire sparked softly in its throat. She named him Ash. He followed her everywhere, guarding her sleep, warming her in the cold, loving her without condition. For the first time, Leora mattered. But the world does not forgive stolen hope. The king's hunters found them. Torches burned the woods. Dogs barked. Nets flew. Ash was trapped. Leora fought like an animal, slashing ropes with a dull knife, screaming until her throat bled. A spear slammed into her ribs. She fell hard. Air ripped from her lungs. Boots crushed her down. The captain stepped forward, raising his sword over the trapped hatchling. Watch, he said. This is how mercy ends. Ash screamed. The sound was not small. It rolled through the forest, deep and ancient, shaking the ground. The sky answered. A roar split the clouds. The air darkened as massive shapes descended from the storm. Dragons. Dozens. Hundreds. Wings like mountains. Eyes like fire and memory. They landed around the hunters in absolute silence. At their head came an enormous dragon, scarred by chains and war. 15 years. Its voice thundered inside every mind. We searched. The great dragon lowered its head to Leora and saw the burned symbols on her palm. You broke a king's curse, it said. You took it into yourself. Leora barely breathed. I just didn't want him to be owned. The dragon looked at Ash, bleeding but alive, then back at her. He is Kareth, last of the storm bloodline. They tried to drown him so we would never hear his call. The captain fell to his knees, shaking. The dragons bowed. To save one life when the world says, let it die, the great dragon said, is not weakness. It is destiny. A crown formed from living metal and was placed before her. We do not need rulers of fear, the dragon continued. We need guardians of hope. Leora looked at Ash, felt his small heartbeat against hers, and understood something simple and terrifying. She had always been nothing to the world, but to him she was everything. I am Leora, she said. The sky shook as dragons roared in answer. She rose, bloodied, broken, unafraid, and stepped forward beneath wings that darkened the dawn. The world she had known drowned behind her. Ahead waited a future forged not by power, but by mercy, and the hope that is strongest when it is chosen by the forgotten. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.